Greetings. This is the one you've known as Jesus the Christ. This is part 1 of chapter 6 of my book, Awakening Love. This chapter's title, As You Sow, So Shall You Reap, represents a basic spiritual truth that's been taught throughout the ages. Your actions and speech, which stem from your thoughts, have certain consequences and cause certain reactions from others, often quite immediately. This relates to the law of karma. What you put out into the world comes back to you. What you do to others, they're likely to do back to you, whether that deed is a kind one or an unkind one. As a result, it's best to behave toward others as you would like others to behave toward you. Judge not, and ye shall not be judged. Condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven. Give, and it shall be given unto you. We're back to the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The reason for the golden rule is the law of karma. It's why adhering to the golden rule is important. Following the golden rule leads to good results, and not following it leads to the opposite. What you think, say, and do is important and has consequences. If not immediately, then at some point. The law of karma teaches this, and more essentially, teaches love. The law of karma teaches people how to behave and how not to behave, and the guiding force behind that is love. Karma is the great teacher and a shaper of one's destiny. Your behavior shapes your destiny, what you're likely to experience, particularly from others. Life is not haphazard, but operates according to spiritual law. There are consequences for your thoughts, words, and deeds. The law of karma is the foundation of morality and ethical behavior. That certain actions reap good results and others reap bad ones is consistent throughout history and cultures. This law, like all natural laws, is immutable. However, the workings of the law of karma are not always obvious, since the results or reactions that you have sown don't necessarily appear immediately, or even within the same lifetime, or in a form that you would recognize. So it often seems that those who harm others get away with their injustices, and those who adhere to morality are not always rewarded. Nevertheless, goodness is its own reward, and those who behave badly or harm others are suffering as they do this. It hurts to be divorced from love, and that suffering is a potential deterrent to bad behavior if one pays attention to such guidance signals. Morality is built into life through the law of karma. Karma teaches by guiding you away from meanness, pettiness, selfishness, unkindness, impatience, carelessness, and every other negative quality you can think of. And it teaches by guiding you toward virtuous behavior, which is essentially based on love, kindness, forgiveness, compassion, patience, acceptance, tolerance, humility, generosity, and so forth. The thing is, you know what is naughty and what is nice. You know what is virtuous and what is not. Why is this? Were you born knowing this, or did you learn this? The answer is that everyone is born good and with a desire to be good, and born knowing what is good. People are also born with an inner compass that points them toward goodness, toward love, moment to moment. However, this compass is ignored or overridden to one extent or another by one's ego or by having experienced abuse from other egos. This moral compass guides you moment to moment by signaling you energetically. By noting how your body feels energetically, you can know when you're behaving badly and when you aren't. When you engage in unloving behavior, you experience a contraction of your energy, just as you feel a relaxation of your energy when you're aligned with love. The feeling of ah represents the sense of expansion, relaxation, and peace that comes with no longer being in the ego's grip. What a relief! The opposite experience of tenseness and tightness represents the egoic state of consciousness. This moment-to-moment guidance system tells you what you're aligned with and what you're putting out into the world. You also have an intuitive guidance system, which is insightful rather than energetic. Throughout your day, your divine self communicates with you, although many aren't aware of those communications because their attention is on the voice in their head. If your mind is silent or you aren't engaged with it, you'll notice these communications or intuitions, which feel like a download, a sudden knowing, or an aha. Moment to moment, you're given the insights, inspiration, creative ideas, motivation, reminders, warnings, wisdom, or information you need. Everyone is being guided toward goodness, love, and fulfilling their life purpose. You are being guided toward a happy life. These intuitive communications are often called the Holy Spirit, or the still, small voice within. Others attribute them to guardian angels. Such angels are not an imagination but a real phenomenon. Metaphysical interventions from angelic and other non-physical beings are a fact of life and evident to those who are psychically sensitive. This loving guidance, as well as other more tangible forms of help, is grace. Throughout this frequently difficult human life, you're given so much grace, although you may not always recognize grace's helping hand. Grace comes not only in the form of insights, guidance, and creative inspiration, but also as love, healing, helpful people, opportunities, gifts, and anything else you may need to manage your challenges and learn from them. Life can be a beautiful experience despite the challenges, and even because of them, as challenges lend a richness and depth to life if you're able to gain in courage, compassion, patience, acceptance, and love as a result of them. This is as it's meant to be. Your challenges are not meant to turn you into victims, but heroes. You are meant to become better human beings as a result of them, more aligned with your divinity. Challenges are meant to point you toward home and develop the qualities you need to become a Christed individual. You are being forged in this crucible of life. Life makes you strong. If your challenges are not having that effect, you need to look inside and discover how you're preventing this. What beliefs are you holding that keep you from becoming the hero of your life? Who are you blaming for your difficulties? The hero learns and grows from difficulties. What are you telling yourself that prevents you from accepting or learning from whatever you're experiencing? This is your spiritual work. Some of your difficulties are created by karma, by your own thoughts, words, and deeds. How might you have created, drawn to you, or allowed the challenging situation you find yourself in? What was your role in it? How might you learn from it? Other difficulties are chosen by the soul before life or in the midst of life for growth. It's always best to assume that you're having the right experience, either one you need for karmic reasons or for your soul's growth. Assuming that will help you accept your circumstances. From there you can begin to take positive steps to remedy the situation and learn from it. Acceptance is always possible because your divine self is always accepting. What doesn't accept a situation is the ego. Just see that and turn away from the ego's non-acceptance. Find acceptance in your heart as best you can, and don't get stuck in the ego's non-acceptance. That is a dead end. Not accepting something makes it impossible to do something about it, while acceptance frees you to move forward. Acceptance is the first step in healing and changing something you don't like. To succeed in life in the truest sense of the word, you have to be strong. What I mean by this is that you must not fall prey to negativity, victimization, self-pity, anger, resentment, hatred, revenge, or fear. These are the ego's responses to difficulties, and they are dysfunctional. They paralyze you or create karma, which will only result in more bad feelings and more difficulties. Many find themselves in a negative spiral of their own making. Something bad happens and they react negatively instead of as a hero might. Then that creates more negativity, and that creates even more negativity. Coming out of that negative spiral can be hard because life really seems to be against you. You really believe your ego's version of things, when all along you created the situation with your own negativity. The lesson is to realize this. The farther into negativity you go, the more difficult it is to discover this, because your bad experiences have reinforced your ego's viewpoint. Your false perceptions have become self-fulfilling prophecies, but you don't realize that, and you may not be open to seeing that. Life is difficult indeed under these circumstances. Non-acceptance and blame keep you submerged in negativity. As long as you blame others for your feelings and situation, you won't learn your lessons and you won't become the hero of your life. Blame prevents you from taking responsibility for what you've created, or at least co-created. Once you see your responsibility in this, you can begin to make better choices. But if you don't, why would you choose differently? Non-acceptance and blame result in feeling victimized, and that's a very stuck place. The ego actually likes being the victim. It feels self-righteous in that role and doesn't want to let that go. Being a martyr has a certain appeal. To free yourself, you must find that which is within you that wants freedom from this suffering and wants love and peace more than it wants to play the martyr. The courage and wisdom are there within you to draw upon if you look for them and are willing to transform your experience. But you have to be willing to see that you played a role in creating that situation, if only by allowing yourself to become a victim. You have to take some responsibility for the situation. So let's talk about responsibility. The bad news is that you are responsible for your inner experience of life and for the feelings and actions that flow from that. The good news is that since you are responsible for this, you also have the means for changing this if you don't like the results. Here is how this works. You have a thought, which you aren't responsible for, since you didn't cause that initial thought to arise. However, you do have the choice to believe that thought or not, the choice to think more of those thoughts or not, and the choice to act on those thoughts or not. These are choices you are responsible for, if you have enough self-awareness to realize this. This awareness develops as one advances spiritually. Before that, you're largely at the mercy of your programming. But even then, you are always free to choose against the programming. No one is forcing you to follow your programming. Your thoughts create your inner reality, or what I like to call your inner climate, what the weather inside is like. Is it sunny, cloudy, stormy, cold, hot, or calm? Positive thoughts create positive feelings, while negative thoughts create negative feelings. The beliefs and stories you hold cause you to feel the way you do. Other people don't make you feel bad or feel anything. You make yourself feel bad. This is important to see, because seeing this empowers you to create a different inner reality if you don't like how you feel. You can pick and choose what thoughts you will hold as true and which ones you'll discard. Most of the ego's thoughts are negative and can be discarded. The positive thoughts in your mind are more likely from a positive upbringing or any work you've done on yourself to overcome the negative mind. What you eventually see once you spend some time examining the voice in your head is that you don't need to live by any of those thoughts, except the few true ones. For the most part, the voice in your head is like a sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. It is empty of truth, empty of love and wisdom. The ideal inner climate is the result of a quiet mind, a mind that is no longer chattering and being listened to. Thank you for being here. I am with you always.